thank you for viewing my Remembering project. So what is your name?
My name is Valerie Wilson.
Where were you born?
I was born in South Florida.
Can you tell me a little bit about South Florida?
South Florida, it's sunny. We don't have true winters. You can wear like a light blazer year round. We have the ocean. We have beaches all along the East Coast. Florida is very cultural and lots of different foods, lots of different people, and it's a great place.
What was happening in the world when you were born?
When I was born, I remember reading back that a lot was going on with the civil rights movement, and I was born in 1968. And one thing that I always remember, from a young kid was that Martin Luther King was assassinated like a couple of months after I was born. So I always say, oh my gosh, like I was 2 months old when Martin Luther King was assassinated. And then there was a lot of riffraff, between the races. But back then people were really fighting. Blacks and whites were fighting for my civil rights, and that's a major thing that was happening when I was born.
What is your best story about growing up?
I have so many stories. Well, one of my best stories. I have so many stories. When you asked that question, what stuck out to me was remembering when me and my brother, we got this dog when we were really young, and we called the dog Princess. And we had the dog for like a few weeks, and we would try to put something by the gate so the dog wouldn't get out, but somehow the dog got out. And we were looking for the dog for weeks and weeks and weeks. And then one day, we just so happened to walk between these houses. We were trying to get somewhere else. And I was like, oh my gosh, there's my dog. And then we saw our dog, and then we were calling the dog because the dog really liked us when we had the dog. But the dog started barking at us. He didn't know us anymore. So it was really cool. That was really exciting that we found our dog. But then our dog didn't know us anymore, so he didn't want to come with us. But that's one of the stories. That was like a cool story from my childhood.
Moving on to a happier subject, describe your family life when you were younger.
Family life for me consisted of my mom, my stepdad, my brother, and my sister and myself. And family life was that the three of us were really, really close. And one thing about us is we would have a 3-bedroom place. Wherever we moved, we had 3 bedrooms. But we all seemed to sleep together in the same room. My sister and I in one bed, and my brother in the other bed. So that explains how close we were growing up, because we were always having empty rooms. So we were really close growing up.
You're a Christian. Can you tell me about that?
About being a Christian? Well, I've been a Christian for a long time. I remember when I was baptized. I think it was either 1978 or 1970. I think it was 1978 that I was baptized, and I had made a decision, a conscious decision at that age, that I wanted to serve God, and I've been serving Him ever since.
You met your husband in a church, right?
Yeah, I did. I met him that's funny that you asked that, because I met him in the same church that I was baptized in, that I grew up in.
Can you tell me a person that influenced your life?
Well, my mom mostly influenced my life, but I also have to mention my grandfather too. There were a lot of people that influenced my life, but a lot of my storytelling that I do, I tell stories, and I get that from my granddad.
It's funny that you mentioned your granddad because I was just about to ask you about your grandparents.
Oh wow. About my grandparents, my life with my grandparents. Oh, my mom and my grandparents were really close, so we spent a lot of time at my grandparents' house. My grandmother would cook every Sunday. We go to church and then we meet up at my grandparents' house. And as I said, my granddad was a storyteller, and I just really remember him, telling lots of stories. And my granddad gave me a name. And I didn't realize it until I was older that the name that he gave me had to do with the size of my head. I didn't realize that I had a big head until then. But my granddad would call me Block, and that was his name for me. And one of the other favorite things that I remember about my granddad is that he would give me money to go to the ice cream truck, and he liked strawberry eclairs, and I love chocolate eclairs. So we were opposites, but we were the same. But my granddad taught me a lot about, and my grandmother too. She was a very strong woman, and I have to add my mom in there too. But they taught me how to treat people how you want to be treated. So, that's a lot to be said about all of them.
So earlier I was asking you about if you met him in a church.
Mm-hmm.
So how did you know your husband when you got to that church?
Actually, I didn't know him. There was a period where I didn't go to church for like a few years. I had actually stopped going to church, and I was living like a teenage type life. And when I decided to go back to church, I saw him there before, and I asked, who he was. I had asked my mom who he was because I had never seen him before, and I figured maybe he was related to somebody else at the church, but he wasn't. But when I, started going regularly, I was introduced to him through my mom because he saw my mom at the grocery store after church one day, and he asked my mom who I was and gave my mom his number so that she can give it to me because I didn't have a phone at that time. That was a long time ago before cell phones. And, he wanted me to give him a call. And that's kind of was the beginning of our relationship. And he was my Sunday school teacher. Yeah.
When you said he was your Sunday school teacher, was he much older than you, or were you guys the same age?
Oh, that would be good to clear that up. No, we were, he's about 4 years older than myself. I was 24, and he was 28 years old.
How did you end up in Texas?
Well, I ended up in Texas because my sister moved to Texas, and I was actually looking to relocate. I was thinking about moving to Atlanta, Georgia, and I actually stayed in Atlanta for a good hot 4 weeks, but then I realized that wasn't going to work out for me, and so my sister called one day and she said, if you like Atlanta, you'll love Dallas. And it's funny because at the time I was thinking because I'm not getting on a plane to find out. And that was the beginning of some excitement in my life because I decided to get on a plane and just try it out. I was scared. I was really nervous. And then I came to Texas and I fell in love. I literally fell in love with Texas, and I still love Texas, Dallas. So that's how I ended up here.
Since you moved to Texas, what is life like for you now?
Life for me it's beautiful. And as much as I love Florida, I have to say that I still love Texas much better. I think that my quality of life improved when I moved to Texas, so it was a really good decision. In Texas, I was able to afford to move into a neighborhood where my daughter can go to great schools, and also with work. I've actually been promoted a couple of times since I've been here, and so my salary has increased. So I think overall this was like the best thing that moving to Texas was one of the best things that happened to me.
What is the goal that you would like to accomplish in this lifetime?
Wow. One of the goals that I would like to accomplish in this lifetime, I'm actually working on it right now, and that is to get myself out there as an empowerment coach, lifestyle coach, some form of coach, because one thing that's important to me, I stick by this, is your mind, your body, and your soul. You need all of that to have a 100% life, and so I'm pretty good at coaching people, and so that's one of the things that I'm working on. That's one of the goals that I have in this lifetime, is to work with people and help empower them and get them to a place where they're maybe undecided about something in their life, to move towards that something that they want to do in life. So that's one of the things.
After all you've told me about your life, how would you describe our relationship?
I love our relationship. Since you were in your mom's womb, and when you came out, I knew that you were going to be special, and you are special to me. You're like such a smart kid, and our relationship is that when I say something quirky, you'll correct me on it, and you get me to think about what I said. And we have fun together. You and I both, we're the chocolate lovers in the family, because going back to my family, my brother loved the vanilla, my sister loved the strawberry, and I love the chocolate and the Neapolitan ice cream. So you and I share that common thing where we both love chocolate.
Thank you for watching this interview with my aunt and I.
That young man does not know how special he is to me. Like he doesn't say it all the time, but I know he looks up to me, and he has a certain standard, certain things that he expects out of me. And one of the funniest things that I remember is going through some video was that I was exercising, and I had this video where I was doing the Beachbody Shaun T Insanity video, and oh my gosh, I got him on video. I have him on video doing the same thing, and he was exercising, and when he come over, he was only about 2 years old, but he wanted to get fit. He was all about getting fit with his aunt. Yeah, so he means a lot.